5, homework number 1, it's cultural coding. Let's do a quick review of all 5 lessons and start putting all the pieces of the puzzle together. Number 1, first things first, we learned in lesson number 1, topic sentences are paramount. The reason this is important is because as soon as we realize that the big picture is going to come from the topic sentence here at the beginning of the paragraph, then we are able to follow along with what the author is going to do. Second thing is we have learned that topic sentences feel like a personal opinion. If it's a personal opinion, most people are going to be skeptical and not accept those personal opinions or ideas. So what does the author do? The author has to give details to support that personal opinion. That's how you write a paragraph. Topic sentence, lesson number 1. We move into lesson number 2, the Scooby-Doo rule. Scooby-Doo says the same concept, but it uses different words. Throughout the passage, they're going to refer to the same thing, but they're going to refer to it differently. For example, if it says Jimmy in the paragraph topic sentence here, maybe down here it's going to say he. The next detail will say the boy. Down over here it will say the soccer player. We have to assume that the soccer player is going to relate back to the main thing we're talking about in the topic sentence. Another thing to keep in mind is nouns and verbs. The nouns and the verbs will be reworded off of each other. As before, I mentioned Jimmy, he, the boy, the soccer player. Those are all nouns. People. Nouns are people, places, and things. When you change the words around, you are simply just Scooby-Dooing it. Lesson number 3, we talked about the good stinky rule. Throughout the passage, the author will have a hidden opinion about the subject matter. We can find out what that hidden personal opinion is by looking at the vocabulary words that they select. For example, if a word feels like it has a negative connotation, maybe the author has a negative feeling towards the subject matter. This is important when answering questions. Also, as we mentioned before, it's important to follow the author's train of thought. If you understand what the author feels about the subject matter, you will have a better understanding of where the author is projectively going to go. We move into the next lesson. The next lesson we learned was lesson number 4, the author's timeline. The author's timeline looks like a line. We start back in the day with old school stuff, move progressively more modern on the timeline to present day material, and potentially we could go to the future, old to new, as we progress from details throughout the passage. They're going to have to bring up background information, how it was started, where it was started, and so forth, and progressively move through the passage. Why is that important? Once again, we want to follow what the author is doing. When we understand where the author is going, we might be able to skip over some words, might be able to skip over some of the details. Why? Because we've already seen those details before somewhere else in our life. Cultural coding is lesson number 5. Lesson number 5 is assuming and making some assumptions, bringing into the passage some things that we may have already learned elsewhere. So, there you have it. It is a quick overview of all 5 lessons. Let's go ahead and take a look at the passage that we're dealing with right now. The name of this passage is called Ancient Celebrations. The topic sentence says, people in ancient Egypt celebrated many different kinds of festivals. Some of these festivals honored nature. So we have the main subject, which is festivals. And why are they doing that? Is to honor nature. Now we're going to have details to support that. Come over here. For example, tells us it's an example, and the reason that they're doing this is because of the riverbanks becoming fertile for farming. First of all, they are celebrating this because having the riverbanks become fertile is part of nature, and they are basically honoring that with some kind of a festival. Come over here. Other festivals celebrated. They use the same phraseology, celebration and honoring. It says the same thing, Scooby-Doo style. The beginning of spring, harvest time. At the celebrations, family enjoyed food, watermelon, and so forth. So here's an example of what's happening at the festivals. Festival and celebration says the same thing, uses different words. Scooby-Doo style, you see that? You come over here, take a look at the next one. During the festivals, they listened to music and watched entertainers. It's a detail of what's actually happening at the festival. When I say music, you say festival. When I say entertainer, you say festival. It's the Scooby-Doo saying the same thing using different words. Why? Because that's what you would see at a festival, musicians and entertainers. Over here, it says all of these celebrations. Celebration is a festival, Scooby-Doo style. Bam. Thanking Mother Nature for her gifts. Who is Mother Nature? Mother Nature is nature. Says the same thing, uses different words. That's a quick overview of all the things that we've learned so far, lessons 1 through 5. Let's go ahead and answer the questions. Number 1, using the Scooby-Doo technique, what is another word for stalls? Stalls is right here. We read the sentence. At the celebrations, family enjoyed food such as watermelon, grapes, figs that were sold at nearby stalls. I don't know if you've ever gone on family vacation and on the way up north to your cabin or Lake of the Woods or somewhere, you see stalls where they sell corn. It's kind of like a little table with a little awning, roadside stand. Looks something like that. It says corn, fresh corn. The farmers come out on the side of the road. That's kind of what I'm envisioning with a stall. You could put in here, you could put tables, you could put small shops, you could put stands, something in there to reword a stall. Let's go ahead and take a look at problem number 2. We scroll on down. The main idea of this paragraph, main idea is going to come from the topic sentence. Egypt celebrating festivals to honor nature. Bam. Process elimination, we cross out answer choices that are wrong. We have seen and learned thus far lots of answer choices are going to be wrong, that are going to be too narrow. If you're looking for a main idea or big picture question, it's going to have to entail the big picture, which will come from the topic sentence. The wrong answer will be over here, which will be a small, tiny little detail that they do talk about. It will be a true answer, but it's not going to be the big picture. Let's take a look at A. A. When the land was prosperous, Egyptians celebrated. Does it ever say that they were celebrating the prosperity? No, they never say that. They say that they celebrated to honor nature. Nature brings good, nature brings bad. This is what's called a distortion. It twists the words around. It's wrong. B, Egyptians like to celebrate. That doesn't say anything about honoring nature, so that is basically just flat out wrong. C, ancient Egyptians love to party. They are turning this around and saying a celebration or festival is a party, and that is a distortion. The reason that they love to party or celebrate or have a festival is not because they love it, because they are honoring nature. They miss the key components, so that's going to be wrong. D, the main idea is to show appreciation to the land. Egyptians held festivals to show thanks. Festivals from the topic sentence, and appreciation is another Scooby-Doo for the word honor, which we see way up in the topic sentence up here. Let's scroll on up there. So you see that right here. Honor nature. The better answer choice for problem number 2 is going to be answer choice D. Let's take a look at 3. Scroll on down to 3. 3 says, using the concept of cultural coding, what other things might have been at festivals in regards to entertainers such as acrobats? Well, some other things that we might see jokers or clowns. We might see fortune tellers. And we might see other entertainers that do something like maybe juggling. Many, many, many things that we could see here. Just think of some type of a festival during the summertime that you would see. Maybe there's going to be kids rides there. Maybe there's going to be pony rides. Maybe there's going to be a petting zoo. All kinds of things. that you could possibly put in there. Just think of a summer festival. What would you see there? What have you seen during the summer at the festivals? Let's move on to problem number 4. Problem number 4, which best reflects the writer's attitude about ancient Egypt? First of all, ancient Egypt honors Mother Nature by showing some type of celebration or festival. That sounds very positive using the good stinky rule from lesson number 3. So we know that the answer we're looking for is probably going to be positive. Let's take a look. Process of elimination. Remember, don't cross anything out that's close. If it's got to be really weird, we'll cross it out right away. We'll do all double pass on it. It's really what I do. The Egyptians were not serious about development because of all the celebrations they held. Not serious about development. That feels very negative. It sounds like they're a bunch of partiers, and therefore that's negative. We can cross that out. The reason that they're celebrating or having festivals is to honor Mother Nature. B, Egyptians appreciate the environment and held celebrations to show their thankfulness for prosperity. I like that. Let's put a dot by it. Let's go on to C. The Egyptians were too busy with planting to enjoy much of the celebrations. They were too busy. When you're too busy, that is a negative thing. Using the good stinky rule, we can cross out answer choice C. Let's take a look at D. D. Farmers would stop farming to attend celebrations, and that was dysfunctional. Dysfunctional is a negative word, and when you stop farming, you're not going to be able to harvest. That's negative as well. That can be crossed out good stinky rule style. That is incorrect. We're looking for an answer choice that says honoring festivals, which is positive. B is the correct answer because it says appreciated, and celebrations, both of those are positive. And the word thankfulness is positive as well down here. And prosperity is positive as well. So we see a bunch of positive words here. Now, let's use the good stinky rule. Let's use the Scooby-Doo technique here. The Scooby-Doo technique says the same thing but uses different words. We have seen in the passage that they're saying festivals to honor Mother Nature. So if you come over here, honor and appreciation say the same thing. They're both verbs or actions, but they're different words. Environment is nature. That is a noun, and that's a Scooby-Doo. Celebrations is the same thing as festival. That is, a celebration is like an action, or it could be a noun, could be either. And thankfulness is another word for honoring. And prosperity is just assumed in there because when you are honoring it, you're honoring because you're happy with it. So you see that this is the correct answer for many reasons. It's a classic example of the Scooby-Doo technique. Once again, problem number 4, the correct answer here is going to be answer choice B. Let's go ahead and take a look at problem number 5 below. Problem number 5. From this paragraph, you can conclude that. Over here, we go over here, and to make a conclusion, we quickly look at the topic sentence. We have celebrations and festivals honoring nature. Down over here, it says all of these celebrations were a way of thanking Mother Nature. Now, if you look at this before, we mentioned before, we said thanking Mother Nature. That has to be linked back to what we said earlier. Remember, the topic sentence and the conclusion are basically going to be restated off of each other. And here is a classic example of that. Festivals and celebrations say the same thing, Scooby-Doo style. And honoring and thanking say the same thing. So we need an answer choice that is going to be positive using the good stinky rule. Let's go ahead and process of elimination, start crossing answer choices out as we look at problem 5A. Celebrations were held even if the land was not fertile. Put a dot by that. B says celebrations were canceled if the land was not fertile. Canceled is negative, and not fertile is negative as well. And therefore, we can cross that out using the good stinky rule. Remember, the passage is positive. C, celebrations lasted for days on end. Never said that. It just said that they had celebrations and festivals. Cross that one out. That is an assumption that is not founded. D, many people did not attend the celebrations because they had to work. So if you look over here, did not attend, that is negative. And we can cross that one out because it flat out never said that, and also it is negative. We look over here at answer choice A. A says celebrations were held even if the land was not fertile. And that relates back to what they said in the topic sentence. We are going to honor nature. Nature brings good, nature brings bad. We have to honor both. That is the correct answer choice, and the only one that can be concluded based upon the passage that we see. 5 is A. Scroll on down. We'll take a look at the next one. It's problem number 6. Cultural coding again, kids. 6, cultural coding is taking information that we have learned somewhere else in our lives and applying it into a new situation, such as a reading passage. What other possible reasons might there be to have a celebration at the specific times of year? Remember, what we saw is examples of the celebrations, and the celebrations that we saw here were A, the beginning of spring, and at harvest time. Some other times that we might see, a full moon. That might be another one. Remember, Christmas is celebrated on a specific day. They might have, back in the day here, ancient Egypt, they might have certain gods, and the gods will have a day that they'll be honoring. They might have a birthday, and so forth. Those are some good examples. Cultural coding, kids. Be thinking about how other information we have learned in our life may apply and help us kind of wrap this up and understand it a little bit better. Number 7, it says, using the good stinky rule, find words in a paragraph that are either positive or negative. Let's go in here and start searching around. We are going to get the red pen out. Let's go ahead and take a look at words that are positive or negative. Celebrated, that's positive. Festival is positive. Festival is positive. Honored is positive. When I say the word nature, I feel like that reminds me of the outdoors. That is a positive word in general. Festivals is positive as well. Flooding is negative. Fertile. Fertile has something to do with flooding, and it has something to do with farming. I'm not sure. We'll have to look at that one again, and I don't want to give the answer away because that's one of the questions here. Festival is positive. Celebrated is positive. Beginning of spring. I think spring is a positive word. Harvest time means food. That's positive. Celebrations, that's positive. I say families. I think of positivity. Enjoyed, it's positive. Various foods. That means a variety of foods. I like that. Watermelon, grapes, figs, that all sounds delicious. I could label all that positive. Festivals is positive. Listen to musicians, that's positive. Watch to entertainers, that's positive. Acrobats, an acrobat, that sounds interesting. I like that. Celebrations. Thanking, positive, and gifts is positive as well. When I say mother, I feel like that's a positive word as well. It's many, many words that tell us the overall theme for this passage is going to be positive. Remember, the author has selected these words on purpose because of the attitude that this author has towards the subject matter of the paragraph. Let's go ahead and take a look at the last question. It's problem number 8. Problem number 8, it's the question that I alluded to earlier. It is, in this paragraph, the word fertile on line 4 means what? If you look over here, go back up to the passage and look at the surrounding area. It says, for example, we know that what is down here is going to be an example of what they just said earlier. So let's see what it says. They are having a festival that's honoring nature. And we're going to honor nature because the river floods the riverbanks and it makes things fertile. So when you're having a festival, that's positive. And when you're honoring Mother Nature, that's positive. even though you have a river flooding, it's making the riverbank fertile. So that means that it's going to do something positive. I know that the word is going to be positive. The other thing is you'll learn about prefixes in the next couple of lessons here. Fertile and root words. Fertile reminds me of fertilizer. Fertilizer is a positive word because it's going to make stuff grow. See what I just did there? When you grow stuff is going to be in nature, so we can harvest it for food. We see that this word will be positive. We scroll on down and look for an answer choice that is going to be positive as well. Problem 8a. Furtive. I'm not sure what that means. Let's put a dot by it. B says flexible. I don't think that seems kind of weird when I see that. Flexible means can bend. I just feel like that's wrong, out of context. C says productive. Put a dot by that. And D says festive. Well, remember what the other words are surrounding this. You can't have flooding happen and then you're going to make the farm festive. So that is going to be a weird answer choice. So we can go ahead and cross answer choice D out. Flexible feels like it's off topic. We put a dot by productive and furtive. Furtive or productive. What are we going to do to farming? Which one of those sounds better using the Scooby-Doo technique? Furtive farming or productive farming? When you farm, you make produce. That is the best answer. The correct answer for problem number 8 is going to be C for 8. That's it for this particular lesson. We will see you in the next lesson. Bye for now.